Alright, so when I was in high school, I wrote a speech that I want to share. It's called It's Time, the Real Real. So when most people talk about or think about school, a few things come to mind right away, such as tests, grades, projects, early mornings, friends, and graduation. Don't get me wrong, those are all parts of it. But for me, school has sometimes meant something different for me. It's been one of the places where I learned how to ask better questions, where I learned how to think more deeply, more critically, and most importantly, how to speak up. Not just to be heard, not just to be part of the conversation, but to challenge it. To speak up not just for the sake of talking, but to stand in truth. To stand in who I really am and what I believe. To speak with purpose even when it goes against what's expected or accepted. Especially if it makes others uncomfortable. And that didn't come easy. If you had known me in 6th or 8th grade, you would have seen a quieter version of me. I wasn't the person who spoke up in class. I didn't always jump in to defend myself when someone said something off. I let things slide. I kept my head down. I stayed quiet even when deep down I knew I shouldn't have. I would sometimes replay things that happened in my head and think about what I could have said and how different things could have turned out, wishing I could go back and say the things I should have and could have. I think a lot of us can relate to that feeling, wanting to say something but holding back, worried about what others will think, worried about causing conflict, worried about standing out for the wrong reasons. But something changed for me in 8th grade biology. My teacher gave us an assignment. We were supposed to recite a piece about evolution, and it wasn't just about science. To me, it felt like it was directly attacking or dismissing God. It made me feel sick. Not because I don't respect science, but because the message felt like it was denying everything I believed in, spiritually. It just didn't sit right, and for once, I didn't let it slide. I didn't stay quiet. With my mother's help, I spoke up. I told my teacher I wasn't going to read it. I explained how I felt, and we found another way for me to learn the material without compromising what I believed. A few days ago, I saw a video from Jasmine Crockett, the U.S. Representative for the 30th District of Dallas, Texas. When I saw this video, I was very happy and in complete agreement because she had been saying something I had been trying to get people to realize about history. There's a part of history that is hidden and ignored. She talked about how we can't ignore it and to make the world a better place, to not repeat the mistakes of the past leaders. I've talked about and thought about this for a few years now, and it was nice to see someone in power say the same thing I've been talking about and say it publicly to other officials. These moments, though they might seem small, are a turning point for me. It was a time I realized that my voice could create change, that I could speak up, not just for myself, but for truth, for fairness, for what I knew in my heart was right. And oddly enough, around that time, I started remembering something that had stuck with me for years. Advice from a celebrity I've always admired, Zendaya. She played Casey on the Disney Channel show Casey Undercover, a smart, confident teenage spy who always stood for what she was, for what was right, and was unapologetically herself. A person I strive to be in the sense of always being my real self. In one episode, after messing up on a mission and losing her confidence, Casey is playing basketball with her best friend. Some boys are teasing her in the episode, and she responds with the words, "Fake it till you make it." That line stuck with me, not because it meant being fake, but because it meant practicing who you want to be until you believe it and become that person. Later, I watched an interview where Zendaya said she lives by that phrase in real life. She said as an actress, she's always on camera and always under pressure. She doesn't always feel confident, but she shows up anyway, and eventually that confidence becomes real. And I thought, if she can do it, I can do it too. Sure, she's a celebrity, but at the end of the day, we're both human. We both have fears, doubts, and moments where we don't feel confident, so I gave it a try. I started faking confidence. Just a little bit, raising my hand when I wasn't 100% sure, speaking up something that felt right, correcting people about what they made assumptions about me. At first, it felt scary, but one day I realized that I wasn't pretending anymore. That version of myself I had been practicing, she became real. I started seeing my own strength. I started recognizing the value that I had in my voice. I stopped waiting for permission to speak and started speaking from purpose. And something my mom often said kept echoing in my head. She would say, "How do people know who you are?" I'd answer, "You show them." I still think about that question every day. You want people to see the real you? Then be the real you. And that brings me back to something else Zendaya said, something even deeper. She said, "If you pretend to be a role, one day that role is going to break. You're going to want to be yourself, and people are going to be disappointed to find out you're not who you've been pretending to be. Just keep it real and be yourself." That's what people gravitate towards. Because speaking up isn't just about sounding confident. It's about being honest, being real. And realness, that's what people connect to. School was one of the places that gave me space to find out found that out. In class discussions and projects and casual conversations, I remembered being myself out loud. And I remember a specific moment in 11th grade. We were having a class discussion, and it was history class. It was all leaning one way. It felt like everyone was agreeing with each other, but something just didn't sit right with me. We were learning about slavery again, the same topic we learned about since elementary school. Now, don't get me wrong, it's important, but we don't have to learn about it for every class. So I raised my hand, not to argue, not to be difficult, but just to offer a different point of view. There's always another side fit to the story. Some people don't see or study that, but there are harsh realities that really happened and we'll never forget what happened. They listened, the room shifted, the conversation opened up and became more honest and more balanced with input. In that moment, I realized something. Speaking up doesn't shut people down. It brings people in, and across every subject, math, science, English, and history. The same truth kept coming through. Growth starts with curiosity, with courage, with a question. It starts with talking confidently about the uncomfortable truth. It's hard to express in words exactly what I mean by all of this, but you get the general point. Anyways, outside of class, those lessons didn't stop. I found myself challenging stereotypes, not letting labels define me, standing a little taller when I felt dismissed or overlooked, and standing by what I believe even when it makes other people uncomfortable. Especially then, because that's the thing, growth is uncomfortable. Actual truth is uncomfortable. But so is staying silent when you have something to say, and speaking up doesn't always mean being loud. Sometimes it's as simple as saying, actually, that's not who I am. Here's what I think. There's more to the story. Or, that's not true at all. Here's what actually happened. And the best part, I've seen the effect on me. I used to whisper my thoughts at times, and now I don't. I used to second guess myself, and now I walk into rooms with purpose and pride. All because I started using my voice and speaking up and revealing truths. Even if I stood with that truth alone. Because school didn't just teach us math, reading, and science. It taught us courage. It gave us the space to practice being brave, to practice being us. So if you're wondering right now whether your voice matters, let me say this loud and clear. Yes, it does. If you see something wrong, challenge it and try to change it. If you have something to say, just say it. And don't wait for someone else to define who you are. Show them, because school isn't just a place to learn about the world. It's where we learn how to shape it. In a world full of noise, truth stands out the most. Realness stands out. So be bold, be honest, be real, be you, be authentic. And remember, the world needs our voices more now than ever. Thank you.